probably weren't the smartest people on the block in the world. Remember, the colonists were primarily people that the elite in Europe wanted to get rid of. Crazy people. What do we do with them? Encourage them to go to America. Okay. You can create your own community, light on the hill. Go do it. Get the heck out of here. Okay. All right. So you get a lot of crazy religious nuts basically founding different colonies, and you can look it up each state, and see which ones are associated with which religion. Quakers, of course, under William Penn, get Penn's Woods, Pennsylvania. They even put a statue of Penn on the top of the City Hall in Philadelphia, etc. The Quakers, right? Because they quake when they're having a religious experience, right? They quake in church. The Shakers, shake. I don't know what the difference is, but apparently those religious experiences can really get you. They can, actually. Quakers believed in having children, and as a result, there are still Quakers. Shakers didn't believe in having children because they're waiting for the second coming, and as a result, there aren't any Shakers, as far as I know. But their furniture is still good. That's just true. They made it out of I don't know, what did they make it out of? Wicked. Yeah, they were. Why? Why do I have to be? I guess they can have all kind of furniture. One of my favorites, though, is Kellogg's. The Seventh-day Adventists, the Kellogg family, they thought it was really important to start your day off with a boring breakfast. So you are not encouraged to sin. So they invented things called cornflakes. Cornflakes. You eat a bowl of cornflakes in the morning, and no one's going to want to sin after that. I guess. Well, one of the brothers had an idea. Let's sprinkle sugar on the cornflakes. And it broke them up, because, no, wait a minute. If you eat frosted flakes, there's a chance that you're going to be encouraged to sin after that, We have some really great religions in the United States. Homegrown, religion. The impact of John Locke, if you think of the impact that Hobbes had on Locke, is basically accepting everything that Hobbes thought so that we have a machine that we think of as a human body, right? I have all these parts, and these parts are all working kind of like Galileo suggested to Hobbes and Descartes, that everything is all a machine and responding to stimuli, etc. And for Hobbes, the main thing that the body wants to do is feel pleasure and avoid pain. And as a result, we learn from experience, don't do that. Do this. This is good. So we learn to do that. And we want security. So for Hobbes, we form our social contract in order to protect ourselves. And for Hobbes, that meant we had to create a higher and higher hierarchy until we had an executive that protected us from everybody else, right? Instead of gang warfare, community warfare, soccer matches are okay, all that stuff, But he was pro-monarch. And remember, King Charles II was his tutee, and so he was for the enlightened monarch, because after all, that's my student. Right? He'll make sure he does the right thing for the whole community. So everybody has to give up their rights to him. John Locke is going to follow the way the body works. He comes up with also the idea, and if you're in a party, a cocktail party, and someone mentions John Locke, the correct phrase is tabula rasa. Anybody has heard that before? Okay, tabula. This is a tabula. This is a tabula. Notice this tabula is up on the wall, but it's a table. And it's erased. Rasa. There's nothing on it. So tabula rasa is a blank slate. The idea being that you're born and there's nothing written on your brain. So we start off with a blank slate. And today we know that that's ridiculous. So if you read Steven Pinker, and we now know that a fetus is learning lots of stuff before it exits the womb with a view. Right? As you have sounds that you hear from your mother and it's snowing out. You have, I remember years ago, they thought that the best colors for us psychologically are rose and green. They came out with that, and instantly all the buildings publicly built were made out of rose and green. Rose and green, rose and green. Go downtown in Anchorage and you see lots of buildings that are made with green, and rose, because it makes us feel so good. Why? Well, rose probably because that's what the womb looks like as your eye buds are growing. And green because, well, that's the safest place, I guess, for us to hide out, from the predators is in the woods. I don't know. But in any case, rose and green. So we have lots of things that are happening to us as we're. I remember I adopted my children, and I remember when we went and saw our daughter, Catherine, for the first time in the hospital on her third day, and I walked in and they were giving her to us, made us take her home. You know how that is, right? I saw her face and I said, I forget what I said, but she looked at me like, who the hell are you? Because she didn't recognize my voice. She would already recognize the voices of the people that she, right? I mean, that's, so the fetus is definitely learning stuff. Linguistics professors like Noam Chomsky and others believe that you're learning grammar. Steven Pinker would argue this too, right? That you're already picking up grammar from hearing around you, so that you're already predisposed to speak the language that your parents have been speaking and teaching you for the last, roughly 6 months. The earbuds started around 3 months, so about 6 months in the womb. Kind of interesting, right? All kinds of things are happening. We've got all kinds of stuff that tells us that the womb experience is absolutely saturated with learning and development and so on. Please avoid alcohol. In any case, for John Locke, I lost where I was. Anyway, for John Locke, all the motions that start going into our brain and start creating our knowledge hasn't happened yet until we're born. So we start off as a tabula rasa, and then we have experience right on this blank slate, right? And our goal is avoiding pain and having pleasure, right? Satisfying our needs. And as a result, we also develop into a society that is essentially understood as a social contract. But in this social contract, we're not going to yield up all of our rights. In fact, some of the rights we're going to think of as inalienable, right? Or unalienable, or inalienable. I believe that the writers of the Declaration argued over how to spell it, what the word was, etc. We still do, actually. Is it inalienable, unalienable? They're wrong in any case, because if one of them is the right to life, well, people will kill you. Be careful. Even in Anchorage, people will kill you. So it's not the kind of right where don't worry about it, you're always going to live. No, that doesn't happen, right? Life, liberty. What is liberty? Do we really know? Do you have liberty to not turn in your assignments for this course? Yes. Will you fail if you do that? Yes. But you freely chose to fail. That's up to you, right? But if you want to pass, then yes, you have to send in your assignment. That probably is true in all your classes, I'm guessing, right? So I'm not evil, I'm just doing my job. If I wasn't doing that, you'd probably have me fired. He gave me an A and I didn't deserve it. I actually had one person do that. Complain about me. I was written up by that person. And there's no defense. I had to go and talk to the dean and explain myself. Why did you do that?
Oh, like they actually complained about having a high grade?
I gave them an A and they didn't think they deserved it. So I was like, I had to go and defend myself to the dean and the associate dean.
Did they want it a B or a C or what? Or they like,
well, they looked at my record and they discovered, well, you have failed people. You do give B's and you do give C's and you do give D. So, okay, keep it up. Teaching is fun, actually.
For the record, I feel I deserve that.
I would, there's an argument in one of my logic books that says taking my course makes you have an A in the course. In other words, just taking the course with me makes you get an A, And that was a logic book written not by me. So that was an interesting, I like that. That's fun. But get lost here. Where am I? So Locke is a doctor. If I went to so William and Mary, right? William died first, but Mary died soon after, and actually listen to the music. So this is the funeral, some of the funeral music, obviously, from Queen Mary's funeral. Just to give you an idea of the way the music was at the time.